Hello internet and welcome back to the most inquisitive channel on YouTube, Life's Biggest Questions, the strange place where reality has reached a singularity and I don't really know where I am anymore. What's going on, guys? As always, I'll be your spirit guide, Jack Finch, as we try our best to keep a straight face and candidly ask the question, what if Jake Paul fights Chris Brown?
Oh, punch after the bell from KSI. People will not be happy at that.
People getting angry.
Jake Paul
Jake's in the ring.
Everybody needs to calm down.
Everyone needs to hold their nerve here.
Before we begin, you know the drill. If you'd like to stay up to date with our latest and questionably greatest uploads, then be sure to hit that subscribe bell conveniently floating below and share this video with your nearest amateur boxing professional. Also, if you're just a fan of LBQ in general or have any vocalized opinion on the matter, then feel free to speak your mind in the comment box down below and demonstrate your democratized right of opinionated digital entertainment. Jake Joseph Paul, born Cleveland, Ohio in 1997, recently stepped into a ring with Desi Olatunji, aka Comedy Shorts Gamer, for a bout that lasted a decisive 5 rounds where Jake sealed the deal. Despite an admittedly gallant effort from the boy Desi, Jake Paul ramped up the Cleveland carnage in the later rounds, leading Desi's corner to throw in the towel after an onslaught of blows. In his own words, Paul said he felt amazing after the fight, claiming to have worked so hard for his sporting victory in the lead up to the battle at the Manchester MEN Arena. And you know, hats off to him, he was probably the closest resemblance to a boxer that the entire evening could muster, despite 7 undercard bouts and 16 competitors stepping into the ring. Paul later went on to say that Desi fought an amazing fight and he hoped that he'd learned a lesson about what he'd said about Paul's family. He said, "No hard feelings, but I feel amazing. It has been a tough year for me and this fight was fighting against all of those things. It was putting my heart on the line and overcoming these things," to quote the YouTube sensation. And yeah, he might be a doughy-eyed sociopath more akin to Todd from Breaking Bad, but you can't deny that he's got heart. You'd root for him in a myriad of bouts. Jake Paul versus Logan Paul, yeah, go Jake. Jake Paul versus Keemstar, go on son. Jake Paul versus Chris Brown. Sorry, what was that? Did you just say Jake Paul versus Chris Brown? Yeah, you heard that correctly, and what's even more shocking is when you find that this claim actually has credibility. After his fight last Saturday, Jake Paul claimed on various media channels at the event that he'd like to call someone out. That person was Chris Brown. He went on to say, "Chris Brown, I know you were supposed to fight Soulja Boy, but I think it's time you got in the ring with someone your own size." Well, what a strange timeline we live in, folks, because hold on to your hats, this hypothetical bout is happening. Reportedly, Jake Paul is 5'10" and 3/4 compared to Chris Brown, who is reportedly 1.85 meters or just over 6 feet, so he's already off on the wrong foot, and Paul screams into this fight at a height disadvantage. Also, we know that Jake Paul is a little bit of a bleeder. Of course, that's what happens. I'm not sure why the internet is so shocked by this fact, because usually when you ram fists into people's faces, there's a bit of blood that tends to come with it. Perhaps we're witnessing the birth of a very specific genre. Who knows? Anyway, I digress. Chris Brown, aka Sea Breezy, is a metaphorical shark when it comes to conflict, and although we're glazing over some pretty glaring criminal indictments, which we don't take lightly, it's undeniable that Mr. Brown is comfortable with physical confrontation, to say the least. And when there's blood, sharks usually whip up a frenzy. I don't know if I'm saying this clearly enough, but this metaphorical fight would be a bloodbath, of which I'm not entirely sure who would emerge as the overall winner. Yep, probably Chris Brown, but Jake Paul has something that Chris Brown doesn't really have, and strangely enough, the high ground. Let's imagine this fight as somewhat of a meme, a very famous battle that took place on the silver screen. The Revenge of the Sith. Anakin Skywalker, played by Chris Brown, turmoiled by the dark side. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah, Jake Paul's nothing like my boy Obi-Wan, but it doesn't fit into this metaphor without him, so stay with me. And how does it end? After lava and cauterized body parts and potential delimbing, Chris Brown, left by the side of a river of pure fire screaming for revenge. Do we have resolution? Is there catharsis? Do we learn a lesson? No. We're just left with an even bigger villain than what we started with. Well, that settles that then, I guess. What do you guys think? Speak your mind in the comment box down below. I know you will regardless. If you've enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and feel free to give it a thumbs down because you're completely entitled to do so. If you'd like to continue your questioning binge, make sure to hit that playlist floating shortly above. You've been watching Life's Biggest Questions. I've been your host, Jack Finch, and until next time, you take it easy.